Alex Garrison never thought of himself as anyone special. At 32 years old, he lived a quiet life as a botanist at a research station in Alaska. His days were filled with studying plants and how they survived in the cold. His coworkers liked him well enough, but saw him as the shy guy who preferred plants to people. The research station sat far from any town, surrounded by snow-covered mountains and forests. Alex liked the peace. Tonight he worked late, collecting samples under the beautiful green lights that danced in the night sky. The aurora borealis was strong tonight, painting the darkness with waves of green and blue. Alex stopped to look up at the sky, his breath making small clouds in the cold air. That's when he saw it. At first, he thought it was just another pattern in the aurora, but this light moved differently. It grew brighter and more solid, a shimmering spot that didn't belong among the natural lights. He stood frozen, sample bag in his gloved hand, as the light grew larger. It wasn't part of the aurora at all. It was something coming down from space. What the ... Alex whispered, his words lost in the vast silence around him. The object descended slowly, its surface gleaming like metal but moving like water. It was big, about the size of the main research building, and shaped like a flattened oval. No sound came from it as it moved through the air, which seemed impossible for something so large. Alex knew he should run. He should radio the station. He should do anything except what he was doing, which was walking toward the strange ship as it settled in a clearing about 100 yards away. His feet crunched in the snow as he approached. His heart beat so hard he could hear it in his ears. The ship, because it had to be a ship, rested on the snow without melting it. Its surface rippled with colors that reminded Alex of oil on water. "Hello?" he called out, then felt silly. If this was what he thought it was, why would they speak English? A section of the ship's surface changed. It wasn't like a door opening, more like the material itself decided to create an entrance. Light spilled out, warm and golden against the blue-white snow. Alex stopped a few feet away. Every bit of common sense told him to turn back, but a stronger feeling pulled him forward. Curiosity, maybe, or something deeper he couldn't name. He stepped toward the opening. The light felt warm on his face. One more step, and he passed through what felt like a curtain of warm water, though he stayed dry. Inside, the ship was bigger than it had looked from outside. The walls curved in smooth lines, glowing with soft light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The air smelled clean, with a hint of something like cinnamon. Alex turned slowly, taking it all in. Then he saw them. They stood in a half-circle, watching him. 5 beings, shaped roughly like humans but different in every detail. They were tall, at least 7 feet, with slender bodies and long limbs. Their skin shimmered with colors that shifted as they moved, like the surface of their ship. Where humans had hair, they had what looked like fine, glowing strands that floated as if underwater. Their faces were the most human-like part of them, 2 large eyes, a nose-like feature, and a mouth. But their eyes were huge, with pupils like a cat's, and their skin had a pattern of tiny scales that caught the light. Alex couldn't move. He couldn't even speak. He just stared, his mind racing to accept what he was seeing. The beings didn't speak either. Instead, Alex felt something, new emotions and images appearing in his mind. Curiosity, interest, caution, pictures of stars and planets he didn't recognize. It was like they were talking to him without words, sending their thoughts directly into his head. Then the group parted, and another being stepped forward. This one was different. Taller than the others, with skin that glowed brighter. On its head was a structure like a crown, made of the same light-filled strands but more complex, with small glowing orbs woven through it. The new being, female, Alex somehow knew, approached him slowly. Her movements were graceful despite her height. The others seemed surprised by her approach, their colors flickering rapidly. She stopped right in front of Alex, up close. He could see that her eyes were deep purple, with flecks of gold that seemed to move. She tilted her head, studying him. Alex felt a stronger push of emotions from her interest, excitement, and something that felt like recognition. "I'm Alex," he managed to say, his voice sounding strange in the quiet ship. The queen-like being reached out slowly. Her hand had long fingers with an extra joint and skin that glowed from within. Alex stayed still, afraid but also strangely calm as she touched his cheek. The moment her skin touched his, Alex gasped. Images flooded his mind, stars exploding. Into life, planets forming, creatures evolving. He saw wars and peace, birth and death, all in fast motion like a movie played at high speed. And through it all, a sense of searching, of looking for something lost. The alien queen pulled her hand back. The stream of images stopped, leaving Alex dizzy. He blinked, trying to clear his head. Then the most surprising thing of all happened. The queen's mouth moved, an actual sound came out. Her voice was musical, with an accent Alex couldn't place, but the words were clear English. "You're the one I've been searching for." The other aliens seemed shocked. Their colors flashed wildly, and Alex felt waves of surprise and confusion from them. "Me?" Alex asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Why me?" "Who are you?" The queen smiled, at least Alex thought it was a smile. "I am Xylia, queen of the Vagerans. We have watched your people for many years, but you are special in ways. You do not yet understand." Alex shook his head. "I'm not special, I'm just a botanist. I study plants." Xylia made a sound like gentle bells, a laugh maybe. "Your work with life forms shows your care for other beings. But that is not why you are special. Inside you is something we lost long ago, something we need." Before Alex could ask what she meant, alarms sounded from his radio. The station had noticed the ship. Soon, others would come. "Your people approach?" Xylia said. "They will fear us. At first, it is natural. What happens now?" Alex asked. Xylia looked at him with those strange purple eyes. "Now everything changes. For you, for us, for all your world." She held out her hand. "Will you help us bridge the gap between our peoples? Will you help us save both our kinds?" Alex looked at her hand, then back at her face. A voice in his head screamed that this was crazy. He didn't know these beings. He didn't know what they really wanted. But another part of him felt like he had been waiting for this moment his whole life. In the distance, he heard vehicles approaching. Alex took a deep breath and reached out, placing his hand in Xylia's. "I'll try," he said. "I'll help if I can." Xylia's smile widened, and the ship around them seemed to pulse with light. "Then let us begin," she said. Alex sat in a small room at the research facility. 3 days had passed since his encounter with the alien ship. 3 days of endless questions from government officials, military officers, and scientists who rushed to Alaska after his report. "Tell us again about what the alien queen said to you," a man in a dark suit asked. This was the 5th time he had asked this same question. "She said, 'You're the one I've been searching for,'" Alex repeated, tired of saying the same words over and over. "And you believe she spoke actual English?" a woman in a military uniform asked. "Yes, her people communicated with images and feelings in my mind, but she spoke English out loud." The man in the suit frowned. "And you expect us to believe that aliens came to Earth and just happened to speak our language?" Before Alex could answer, the door burst open. A young woman with wide eyes rushed in. "Sir, you need to see this." "All of you," she said, turning on the room's television. The screen showed a news broadcast. The reporter looked shocked as she spoke. "We repeat, alien ships have appeared over major cities worldwide. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, Tokyo all report the same thing. Large ships, similar to the one described in Alaska, are hovering silently above. No hostile actions have been reported. The ships are broadcasting the same message in all languages." The screen changed to show a giant ship floating over what looked like Times Square in New York. From the ship, a voice spoke. Alex recognized it immediately. "People of Earth, I am Queen Xylia of the Vagerans. We come in peace. We wish to speak with your world leaders, with Alex Garrison as our interpreter. We have important matters to discuss that affect both our peoples." Everyone in the room turned to look at Alex. His face grew hot with all the attention. "Well," the military woman said, "it seems you weren't making this up after all." 24 hours later, Alex stood in a large conference room at the United Nations building in New York. Leaders from countries around the world sat at a long table, their faces showing a mix of fear, wonder, and curiosity. Queen Xylia stood beside Alex. In the bright light of the room, her skin shimmered even more beautifully than he remembered. Two other veterans stood behind her. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting," Xylia said. Her voice was calm and musical. "What I have to share will change how you see yourselves and the universe." She looked at Alex and smiled gently. He nodded, ready to help explain anything the Earth leaders didn't understand. "First, you should know that this is not our first visit to your world," Xylia began. Murmurs spread through the room. "We came to Earth thousands of years ago, when your civilizations were young. Images appeared in the air above the table, ancient stone buildings, early humans and Vagerons working together. Our peoples not only knew each other, but lived together. Some even had children together." The room erupted in shocked voices. The leader of France stood up. "Are you saying humans and your kind bred?" "Yes," Xylia said simply. "Our genetics were more compatible then. The hybrid children were few, but special." She turned to Alex. "This is why you are important, Alex Garrison. Our scientists have tested the sample you allowed us to take in Alaska. Your DNA contains the most complete sequence of hybrid genes we have ever found. You carry the genetic memory of both our peoples." Alex felt dizzy. "That's why I felt like I knew you somehow." "Why I wasn't as afraid as I should have been," Xylia nodded. "Your instincts recognized us on a level deeper than conscious thought." The President of the United States spoke next. "Why did you leave Earth before, and why return now?" Xylia's colors darkened slightly. "A great disaster forced us to leave. A massive object passed through your solar system, causing destruction. Your people called it various names in your myths: Nibiru, Destroyer Star, World Hammer. We had to evacuate quickly, taking as many willing humans as we could. Most stayed to rebuild." She paused, her expression growing sad. "We always planned to return, but space travel across such distances takes time, even for us. By the time we could come back, your civilizations had forgotten us. We watched from afar, not wishing to interfere with your development." "That doesn't explain why you've returned now," the Russian leader said, his voice suspicious. Xylia's colors shifted to deep blue tones. "We face extinction. Our population is dying out due to a genetic illness. Our scientists believe that reintroducing human DNA, specifically the hybrid sequences like those in Alex, could save our species." Gasps and whispers filled the room. Alex felt a weight settle on his shoulders. So many lives depending on him. "But that's not all," Xylia continued. "We would not come merely for our own survival. A greater threat approaches, one that endangers both our worlds." New images appeared above the table. These showed dark, insect-like ships and planets being destroyed. They are called the Hyrax. They are a hive species that consumes all life in their path. They have destroyed dozens of civilizations already. Their course will bring them to your solar system within 10 years. The room fell silent. Alex saw fear on every face. Xylia straightened, her crown-like structure glowing brighter. "We offer an exchange. Help us survive by allowing willing humans to provide genetic material for our hybridization program. In return, we will share our technology and help you prepare for the Hyrax threat." Chaos broke out as leaders began arguing among themselves. Some shouted that this was a trick, a way to harvest human DNA for unknown purposes. Others argued that the alien technology could advance Earth by centuries. Still others questioned if the Hyrax threat was even real. Through it all, Alex stood quietly next to Xylia. Finally, he stepped forward and raised his hands. "Please," he said, his voice somehow carrying over the noise. Everyone grew quiet. No, this is shocking. I'm still trying to understand it myself. But I've felt the Queen's mind touch mine. I've seen glimpses of her memories. She's telling the truth." The Secretary General of the UN spoke up. "Mr. Garrison, with all due respect, how can you be sure? Your genetic connection to these aliens might make you biased." Alex took a deep breath. I'm a scientist. I look at evidence. Ask yourselves, if they wanted to harm us, why announce themselves? Why not stay hidden? They have technology far beyond ours. They could have taken what they wanted without asking. He looked at Zalia, then back at the human leaders. I believe we should at least investigate their claims. Study their technology. Let our scientists work with theirs. After hours of debate, the world leaders agreed to form a joint human-Vaderan research group. They would study both the genetic compatibility and the evidence of the Mhyrix threat. As the meeting ended, Alex found himself alone with Zalia in a small side room. You did well, she said. They fear what they don't understand. It is natural. Still trying to understand it myself, Alex admitted. Am I really that special, or was I just in the right place? Zalia touched his hand gently. Both. Your genes are special, yes. But your heart, your willingness to bridge our worlds, that is what truly makes you the one I've been searching for. Alex looked into her purple eyes and felt something strange stir inside him. Not just the genetic connection she spoke of, but something more human. A feeling he hadn't expected to have for someone from another world. What happens now? He asked. Now, Zalia said, we begin the real work of saving both our peoples. 2 weeks after the meeting at the United Nations, Alex stood in front of the Vaderan ship with a small suitcase in his hand. The morning sun made the ship's surface shimmer like water. Around him, a group of scientists, diplomats, and military personnel checked their own bags. They were the first human delegation to visit the Vaderan homeworld. Despite ongoing debates among Earth's leaders, Alex had made his choice. He would go to help with the genetic research that might save the Vaderan species. Nervous? Asked Dr. Susan Miller, a geneticist who had become Alex's friend during the intense preparation for the trip. Terrified, Alex admitted with a small smile. But excited too, Dr. Miller nodded. I never thought I'd travel to another star system. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. A ripple appeared in the ship's surface, forming a doorway. Queen. Zalia stepped out, her tall form glowing in the sunlight. She wore something like a robe that changed colors as she moved. Welcome, travelers, she said, her musical voice carrying easily to the group. We are honored by your trust. The journey to Lyria will take 3 weeks in your time. We have prepared spaces for your comfort. Alex felt a flutter in his stomach as Zalia's gaze found his. Since their first meeting, he had felt a strange connection to her that went beyond the genetic link she had explained. The group walked through the opening in the ship. Inside, Alex was surprised to see how the interior had changed since his first visit. The Vaderans had created areas that looked more like Earth rooms, with chairs and tables made for human bodies. We studied your living spaces, explained Nalara, the Vaderan chief scientist who greeted them. We hope these will make you comfortable. After showing everyone to their rooms, Nalara led Alex to a special chamber where Queen Zalia waited. Alex, Zalia said warmly, I wanted to thank you personally for coming. I know this was not an easy choice. I'm still not sure I understand why I'm so important, Alex said. You said my DNA has hybrid sequences, but surely you could have used samples without me coming along. Zalia's colors shifted to soft purple tones. The genetic material is only part of what we need. The living connection, how your body uses these genes, is equally important, and there is more. She gestured to a wall which became transparent, revealing the vastness of space outside. The ship had already left Earth's atmosphere. Stars stretched out before them, more clear and bright than Alex had ever seen from Earth. For generations, our seers have spoken of an Earthborn bridge who would help save our people. Many thought it was just a story, a myth. Zalia turned to look at him. Until I felt your mind touch mine. The connection was stronger than any I've experienced with other species. Alex felt his face grow warm under her gaze. I'm not sure I believe in prophecies. Think of it as a prediction based on genetic knowledge passed down through time, Nalara suggested. Our ancestors who left Earth might have understood what would be needed for our species to survive. Over the next few days, Alex spent time learning about Vaderan culture. Their society was built around the idea of balance between technology and nature, individual and community, past and future. They had no concept of money, instead contributing their work to the community and receiving what they needed. He also learned more about the Hyrix threat. Nalara showed him recordings of distant worlds that had been attacked. They operate as a hive mind, she explained as they watched dark, insect-like ships swarming a planet. They consume all biological material and minerals, leaving planets barren. Then they build more ships and move on. How do you fight something like that? Alex asked, horrified by the images. With difficulty. Their ships are like parts of one organism. Destroy one, and the others adapt quickly. Nalara's colors darkened. That's why we need your help. Our weapons technology is advanced, but our population is too small to mount an effective defense. Earth has numbers. Together we might stand a chance. As the ship traveled through space, Alex began the genetic procedures. Each day, Vigeron. Medical staff took samples and ran tests. The process wasn't painful, but it left Alex feeling drained. At night, he often couldn't sleep. During one such night, he wandered to the ship's observation deck. To his surprise, Xylia was there, looking out at the stars. Trouble sleeping? She asked without turning around. How did you know it was me? Alex asked, moving to stand beside her. I can feel your presence, she said simply. Your mind has a distinct pattern. They stood in comfortable silence for a while, watching the stars streak by as the ship folded space around itself. Can I ask you something personal? Alex finally said. Xylia turned to face him. Of course. You're a queen. Don't queens usually have I mean, is there a king? Xylia made the bell-like sound that Alex now recognized as laughter. Our leadership is not passed through family lines like some of your monarchies. I was chosen because of my abilities, and no, I have no mate. Her expression grew serious. Our population has been declining for generations. Few of us can still have children. Those who can are precious to our society, but I'm not among them. The genetic problem affects me too. Alex felt a wave of sadness from her mind. Without thinking, he reached out and took her hand. Her skin felt warm and slightly textured like fine silk. I'm sorry, he said. Xylia looked down at their joined hands. This is why we need you, Alex. Not just your genetic material, but your compassion. Your willingness to help a species not your own. As the days passed, Alex found himself drawn more to Xylia. They spent hours talking about their worlds, their lives, their hopes. He learned that despite being a queen, she enjoyed simple pleasures watching stars, studying small life forms, creating art with light and sound. 2 weeks into the journey, Nalara brought exciting news. The preliminary tests show promising results, she told Alex and Xylia in the lab. The hybrid embryos we created using your genetic material are stable. They show none of the degradation that has plagued our reproduction. Xylia's colors brightened with joy. This is wonderful news. Alex felt a surge of hope, but also worry. What happens when we reach your world? Will your people accept this? Solution? Will they accept me? Xylia's expression grew thoughtful. Most will welcome you as a savior. But there may be some resistance. Change is difficult, especially when it involves something as fundamental as our genetic future. She placed her hand on his shoulder. But we will face that together. You are no longer just a human visitor, Alex. You are becoming part of our story, just as we are becoming part of yours. Alex nodded, feeling both the weight and the wonder of what lay ahead. In just 1 more week, they would reach Lyria, the Viduran homeworld. Whatever awaited him there, he knew his life would never be the same. The first view of Lyria took Alex's breath away. From the ship's observation deck, he watched as they approached a planet with swirling blue-green oceans and land masses covered in forests of purple and silver. Cities gleamed like jewels along coastlines and mountain ranges, their structures seeming to grow from the landscape rather than being built on it. It's beautiful, he whispered. Queen Xylia stood beside him, her colors glowing with pride. Thank you. We try to live with our world, not just on it. She pointed to a large city near an ocean. That is Ilaria, our capital. That is where we will land. The ship descended smoothly through the atmosphere. As they got closer, Alex could see that the Vidoran buildings were partly alive structures that combined technology and biology in ways he couldn't understand. Some buildings had sections that moved gently, like branches in a breeze. A crowd had gathered at the landing area. Thousands of Vajrans stood watching, their bodies creating a rippling sea of colors. Some looked excited, others curious, and a few seemed wary of the arriving ship. "They've been told about us?" Alex asked nervously. "Yes," Xylia said. "Most are eager to meet humans. Our histories speak highly of our time together on Earth." The ship landed softly. A walkway formed from the side of the vessel, connecting it to the ground. Xylia turned to face the human delegation. "Welcome to Lyria," she said formally. "You are the first humans to visit our world in over 4,000 years. This is a historic day for both our peoples." As they walked down the ramp, the crowd made a sound like wind through crystal chimes, their way of showing approval. Alex felt waves of emotion washing over him from the gathered Vajrans. Curiosity was strongest, but also hope and gratitude. The humans were taken to a complex of buildings designed for them. Inside, the rooms looked almost Earth-like, though the materials and colors were strange. Alex had his own quarters near the main research facility where he would work with Nalara. For the next 2 months, the work progressed quickly. The genetic samples from Alex proved even more valuable than expected. Nalara and her team created viable embryos that showed none of the problems that had plagued Viduran reproduction. "The hybridization is working perfectly," Nalara told Alex one day as they looked at test results. "These embryos could grow into healthy Viduran children with stronger immune systems and none of the genetic flaws our species has developed." "That's good news," Alex said. But he had noticed something concerning. "Nalara, I've been feeling strange after the last round of procedures, tired in a way that's different from normal fatigue." Nalara's colors shifted to a worried blue tone. "Let me scan you." The scan showed something unexpected. The genetic material that made Alex compatible with Vidarans was becoming more active in his own body. He was slowly changing at a cellular level. "Is it dangerous?" he asked when Nalara explained what was happening. "Not exactly dangerous, but significant," she said carefully. "Your body is adapting, becoming more Viduran in some ways. We didn't expect this." Alex wasn't sure how to feel about this news. Before he could think about it more, alarms sounded throughout the facility. "What's happening?" he asked. Nalara's colors paled. "We have visitors." "Unexpected ones?" They rushed to the command center where Queen Xylia was speaking with other veteran leaders. On a large screen, Alex saw a human ship in orbit around Lyria. "They're calling themselves the USS Defiant," Xylia said when she saw Alex. "They say they bring updated diplomatic protocols, but they did not announce their arrival in advance." "That's not standard procedure," said Dr. Miller, who had joined them. "All missions were supposed to be coordinated through the UN Space Council." The ship's captain appeared on the screen. "This is Captain Ryan Cole of the USS Defiant. We request permission to send a delegation to the surface." Xylia looked troubled but agreed. "We will send coordinates for landing." "Later that day, Captain." Cole arrived with 20 crew members. His smile didn't reach his eyes as he greeted the Vajran leaders and the human scientists already on Lyria. "The Joint Military Command felt we needed a stronger presence here," Cole explained during the formal welcome. "To ensure Earth's interests are protected." That night, Alex met privately with Xylia in the Royal Gardens. The plants around them glowed softly in the darkness, responding to their presence. "I don't trust Cole," Alex said quietly. "Something feels wrong about this." Xylia nodded. "Our security systems detected unauthorized access attempts shortly after they landed. They are trying to access our defense networks. I should talk to the other humans, find out if anyone knows what's really going on," Alex suggested, but before he could do this, the situation exploded into crisis. The next morning, Vaduran security detected Cole's team placing devices throughout the city. When confronted, Cole dropped his friendly act. Earth's leadership doesn't believe the Mhyrix threat is real, he announced coldly to Xylia in emergency meeting. They think it's a story you created to gain access to human genetics. That is not true, Xylia said, her colors flashing with anger. We have shown you evidence of the Mhyrix attacks. Recordings can be faked, Cole said dismissively. What my superiors want is your weapons technology? Without the restrictions of your so-called alliance, Alex stepped forward. Captain, you don't speak for all of Earth. The UN agreement. The UN doesn't control Earth's military. Cole cut him off. And you, Garrison, are considered compromised. Too close to the aliens, too willing to believe their stories. Xylia stood tall, her crown-like structure glowing brightly. We will not give you weapons technology without the agreed safeguards. That was not our deal. Cole's face hardened. Then we'll take what we need. He pressed a button on his wrist device. Explosions rocked the building. Through the windows, Alex saw human soldiers from the Defiant emerging from hiding places throughout the city, weapons drawn. What have you done? Alex shouted. Secured our position, Cole said coldly. Those charges disabled your main defense grid. My team will extract the technology data we need and be gone before you can stop us. Chaos erupted. V'ger and security forces rushed to protect their people, but they were not prepared for this kind of attack. The human soldiers had positioned themselves near critical systems and research facilities. In the confusion, Alex lost sight of Xylia. He ran through the building, trying to find her. Smoke filled the corridors from small fires caused by the explosions. He found Nalara injured, helping other veterans evacuate the research lab. The Queen! Alex gasped. Where is she? Royal chambers, Nalara coughed. Trying to activate emergency defenses. Alex ran toward the central tower where Xylia's quarters were located. As he approached, he saw Cole and 3 soldiers breaking through the doors. Stop, Alex shouted, but they ignored him. He grabbed a piece of broken equipment and followed them inside. He heard Xylia's voice from the inner chamber. You do not understand what you're doing, she was saying. The Mhyrix are real, and this attack weakens both our peoples. Save your stories, Cole replied. Just give us access to your weapon systems. Alex entered the room just as Cole raised his weapon toward Xylia. Without thinking, Alex threw himself forward, knocking Cole's arm aside. The weapon fired, hitting the wall instead of the Queen. The soldiers grabbed Alex, throwing him to the floor. Cole stood over him, weapon aimed at his head. Traitor to your own species, Cole snarled. The real traitor is whoever sent you to destroy. Our only chance against the Mhyrix, Alex shot back before Cole could respond. Alarms began blaring throughout the city, different from the ones before. A Vigeron voice spoke over the communication system. The words translated to English. Multiple objects detected entering the system. Configuration matches Mhyrix scout vessels. This is not a drill. Repeat. This is not a drill. Cole's face paled. That's impossible. They can't be here already. Xylia's colors darkened to deep blue. They've been hiding their approach, using gravity wells to mask their signatures. The very defenses you disabled would have detected them sooner. The room shook as something exploded in the distance. The Mhyrix attack had begun? Alex woke up in a dimly lit room. Pain shot through his body as he tried to move. The last thing he remembered was the explosion after the Mhyrix ships arrived. He had pushed Queen Xylia away from falling debris, and then darkness. He was lying in some kind of medical pod. The surface beneath him was soft and slightly warm. A gentle blue light pulsed around him, and he felt a tingling sensation throughout his body. He's awake, said a familiar voice. Nalara appeared above him, her colors muted with worry. What happened? Alex asked, his voice rough. Where's Xylia? She is safe, coordinating our defenses, Nalara said. You've been unconscious for 3 days. You were badly injured protecting the Queen. Alex tried to sit up again and was surprised to find the pain less intense. He looked down at his body and gasped. His skin had a faint shimmer to it, almost like Vidiran's skin. What's happening to me? He asked. The genetic changes we observed before have accelerated, Nalara explained. To save your life, we had to use Vaderan medical techniques that speed up cellular repair. Your hybrid DNA responded strongly. She helped him stand. Alex felt strange, like his body wasn't quite his own anymore. He was still human in shape, but something was different at a fundamental level. Them Hyrics? He asked, pushing aside his personal concerns. Nalara's colors darkened. They have established a blockade around our planet. The first attack damaged our main city. We've evacuated to the ancient underground shelters. Alex realized they were indeed underground. The walls around them were made of a crystal-like material that glowed softly. What about the human ships, the Defiant? Destroyed when they tried to leave the system, Nalara said sadly. The Hyric ships surrounded them. Captain Cole and some of his crew survived. They're being held in another section. Nalara led Alex through curving tunnels to a large chamber filled with Vaderan technology. In the center stood Queen Zelia, surrounded by her advisors. When she saw Alex, her colors brightened. "Alex," she said, moving quickly to him, "you're alive." She embraced him, and Alex felt a rush of emotions from her mind relief, joy, and something deeper he couldn't name. "I'm changed," he said when she pulled back. Zelia nodded. "Yes, the healing process activated more of your hybrid genetics. You're becoming something new, neither fully human nor Vaderan." Before Alex could respond, an advisor approached with urgent news. The Hyrics have launched another attack on the surface. They're targeting the remaining communication arrays. Zelia's expression grew serious. "We need to contact Earth. They must prepare for the Hyrics. Even if they don't believe us, they need to be warned." "All long-range communications are down," the advisor said. "The Hyrics have blocked all signals leaving the system." Alex thought for a moment. "What about the genetic link? You said our minds can connect because of my hybrid DNA. Could we use that somehow?" Zelia and Nalara exchanged looks. "Perhaps," Nalara said slowly. "The quantum entanglement principles we use in our biotechnology might be adapted. If we could link your hybrid DNA to the communication system..." "It's worth trying," Zelia decided. Over the next week, as the Hyrics continued their attacks on the surface, Alex worked with the Vaderan scientists. His background in botany proved unexpectedly useful. The principles of how plants communicated through root systems gave him insights into how the Vaderan biotechnology worked. His changing body also helped. As his cells became more Vaderan-like, he found he could interface directly with their technology in ways no normal human could. "I think we've got it," he told Zelia after days of non-stop work. "We can send a signal to Earth that the Hyrics can't detect or block, but I'll need to be directly connected to the system. My mind will be the conduit." "Is it dangerous?" Zelia asked, her colors showing concern. "Probably," Alex admitted, "but we don't have a choice. Earth needs to know what's coming." The procedure was set up in a secure chamber deep underground. Alex lay in a special pod connected to the remains of the Vaderan communication system. Wires and glowing tendrils attached to his temples and chest. "Focus on someone on Earth you trust," Nalara instructed. "The connection will be stronger with a mind you know well." Alex thought of Dr. Alan Foster, his mentor from university who now worked at the Space Defense Initiative. If anyone would listen and act on his warning, it would be Alan. "Ready?" Zelia asked, standing beside him. Alex nodded. "Do it." Nalara activated the system. Pain shot through Alex's body as his mind stretched across space. He felt like he was being pulled apart and reassembled. Images flashed before his eyes: stars, planets, the dark emptiness between systems. Then suddenly he felt another mind. Alan, sitting at his desk on Earth, looking at data from space telescopes. Alex pushed the information through images of the Hyric ships, their attack patterns, weaknesses in their technology that the Vaderans had discovered. Most importantly, their trajectory toward Earth. When the connection broke, Alex fell back, exhausted. "I did it," he whispered. He received the warning. Over the next few days, Alex's connection to the Vaderan systems grew stronger. As he interfaced with their technology, he discovered something unexpected. He could sense patterns in the Hyric's communications. They're not just a hive mind, he told Xylia. They have a central control system. Their ships receive commands from a main vessel. This insight gave them a chance. Using Alex's unique abilities, they created a disruption signal that confused the Mhyric's command structure. It wasn't enough to defeat them, but it created a window of opportunity. We can get a ship through their blockade, Xylia announced to her council. One ship carrying the survivors and our genetic research. The evacuation plan moved quickly. The remaining humans and as many Vegerans as possible would board their fastest ship and attempt to reach Earth. They would bring the hybrid embryos and all their research, the future of both species. The day of departure, Captain Cole approached. Alex, the human officer, looked beaten, his confidence gone after seeing the Mhyric's firsthand. I was wrong, he said simply. The threat is real. I'll testify to that when we reach Earth. As they prepared to board the ship, Xylia took Alex aside. Your body will continue to change, she said softly. You are becoming something new, a true bridge between our peoples. I'm scared, Alex admitted, but also hopeful. If we survive this, we could create something better together. Xylia touched his face gently. That is why you were the one I searched for. Not just for your genes, but for your vision. The escape was chaotic. Using the disruption signal Alex had created, they launched during a moment of confusion in the Mhyric's fleet. Their ship took damage but managed to enter the space folding drive before the Mhyrics could organize a proper pursuit. 3 weeks later, they arrived in Earth's solar system only to find a battle already in progress. Earth ships, using the technology Alex had transmitted, were engaging the first wave of Mhyric scouts. The Vaderan ship joined the defense. With their help, the Mhyric scouts were defeated. It was only the first battle in what would be a long war, but it was a victory. In the aftermath, Alex stood before the United Nations once more. Beside him stood Queen Xylia, Captain Cole, and representatives from Earth's military who had seen the truth of the Mhyric's threat. Alex's appearance caused a stir. His skin now had the subtle glow of a Vegeran, though his form remained mostly human. He was living proof of what was possible between their species. The Mhyrics will return with a larger force, he told the assembly. But together we can defend our worlds. The Vaderan genetic research will save their species, and their technology will help us prepare for the coming battles. He held out his hand, and Xylia took it in hers. The gesture was symbolic, human and Veteran standing as one. We were separate peoples once, Xylia said to the assembly. Then we were allies. Now we must become family again. She turned to Alex, embracing him before the representatives of both worlds. You were the one I searched for, she said. But now we all stand together. Alex returned her embrace, feeling the connection between them grow stronger. He was no longer just human, no longer just himself. He was the beginning of something new, a bridge between worlds, a hope for the future. As they faced the gathered leaders of Earth, Alex knew the road ahead would be difficult. The full Mhyric's invasion was still coming. Both humans and Veterans would need to change, to adapt, to grow beyond what they had been, but looking at Xylia beside him, he felt certain they would succeed, together.